We need the map back to ourselves. We need the map back to that voice that we can trust to take the leap of faith, that we can trust to do the hard healing work, to forgive so that we don't let someone that wronged us take room in our psyche and drag us down to the negative vibration. So all of those things. So what is the map? Tell us, talk about, how intention, joy, and certainty will supercharge our life.
Well, let's talk about supercharge just for a minute. What I mean when I say that is we all have to go through this life. We're born, we live a life experience, God willing, and then we check out and go back to where we came from. And there's two ways to go through life. You go through it somewhere over here, or you can go through it somewhere over here, and to many degrees of how we go through the life that we live. And simply put, intention, certainty, and joy, the way that I'm framing them, intention is about, like you said, a return to self. Return to self is returning to the perception of the truth of who we are, awakening to the truth of who we are, which is essentially good and powerful, able, creative, loving extensions of this greater force. Certainty is being certain in that loving force, that it's not just that I am good, but that the world is essentially good and growing, good and getting better, filled with potential, pregnant with potential, that wants to give birth to a better consciousness in this world.
Yes.
So the degree that we can hold those two things true in our life, the barometer by which you can know that those are true for you is that state of joy, that love, that peace that you carry. If you're not feeling good in your life, it's because one of those two things isn't true for you, right? Or is diminished in your perception. So if you see yourself as unworthy or not good enough for whatever it is that you're trying to do, or maybe you see yourself as just fine, but you think the world is out to get you, or the world is going to fail you, right? If either of those things are true,
evil and darkness are overtaking, have more power than light.
That's right. And to the degree that those two things are true, the light inside of you shines brighter, and you experience that as joy. Right? And that is now the barometer by which you can measure how much you are in alignment with those realities. And of course, at the top of all, this is all within the world of duality. In a non-dual consciousness, we realize that you and the world are one, right? Mm-hmm. That, the metaphor is there's the sun, and then there are the rays of the sun, right? So if your individual consciousness is a ray, but the source of that is the sun, right? And so intention and certainty, when they meet in this place of love, of oneness, of unity. So your life becomes supercharged when those two things become a reality for you. And what that means is both psychologically and energetically. Psychologically, people think that some people are lucky. Some people are just more lucky. They've got lady luck on their side. But it's not that some people are lucky. It's that some people are looking. They're staying open. They have an open mind, an open heart, and they're more conscious, knowing that no matter what happens, things can be working out. So even just having that psychological shift inside, before you get to any woo-woo or spiritual or energy, it's like, right, your life will be different if you're looking for reminders and opportunities and lessons in the things that show up for you in your life. You're just going to live a different life if that's your baseline, if that's your assumption. And then, of course, there's the energetic spiritual side of this whole thing, which is the law of resonance or the mirror effect. What you're putting out is what you're receiving. You're tuning into certain frequencies, and you're going to draw more of that into your life experience. So if we're simplifying the book of what this is really about, is how do we get into that state of consciousness where the life that I want is reflected back to me because I'm being authentic with myself. I'm not denying those parts of myself. I don't deny the parts that are wounded, but I'm trying to embrace the bigger me, which is part of something beautiful and good and worthy, stepping out of fear and into love, like you said before. And the same is true not just about me, but the entire world that I'm in, right? Everything that's happening in this world is an extension of that. You can't be certain of any particular outcome, but you can be certain of a process. And that's the essence of the certainty that we're speaking about here.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. I feel like in my exploration of heal and the journey of, like the conclusion I came to is, beyond anything is possible. And there's so much, we live in a world of infinite possibility, is that, the universe is for us. And, this is all for us. And so to really be able to be in the world and trust that there's a loving force of source that's far greater, omniscient, omnipotent, than our little human minds can fathom, and to really trust and know, this is not happening to us, this is happening for us, and we live in a loving universe. So if we can solidify that certainty, if we can have that faith, then I think we can navigate life in a much less stressed, diseased, dissonant way. And it is that joy barometer of getting, just like allowing our feelings to indicate. It's like indicator lights on the dashboard going, we're out of alignment. And like, we could have been, whether it's a job or a relationship or being a rock star, like it could be in alignment for a period, but then all of a sudden the feelings shift, the indicator lights come on and go, okay, your soul is needing to go in a different direction. To really tune into that, and allow for that, and realize like, oh, I'm staying here when all these indicator lights are going off and the system is not functioning and you're feeling stagnant, anxious, depressed, not efficient, low energy. It's because you are staying stuck from fear of either disappointing others or, expectations others have of you or what society says you should or shouldn't do. And you're going against what your soul and your higher self is craving, or your truth, really. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're saying it's truth coming through you. One of the pieces that we quote in there, it's one of my favorite verses in the Bible, in the Torah, where you've got the story of Abraham, and he spends his entire life looking for God, looking for this force of good, the creator. And he's 70 years old at this point, and then God finally speaks to him. And the very first thing that God says after the man spends his whole life looking for God is, go to yourself. And for me, that's like the profound underpinning of this entire journey, which is, of course, we're all looking for the great beyond connection to spirit, to source, to love, to goodness. But it all starts right here, right? Like if you want to get to this great place, so it's like, right, it starts in your journey. You are the journey back to that force, back to God.
Mm-hmm. I leafed a page here. Well, this is just true for me right now. We're always looking outside for external validation, or we see like, we want to be that person who has 200 million followers or whatever. We're putting the barometers outside of ourselves. And so at one point, you say, our mentors and those we look up to are not destinations. They are guiding lights pointing us in the direction of ourselves. You won't ever become your mentors. You will only ever become yourself. They lead the way by being themselves. And I mean, that's just like the theme of my year. Really, really taking the advice of others. In big transitions in my life, I tend to seek out like intuitives and astrologers, and everything usually gives me validation back to what my own intuition is saying. Nobody's giving me new information. It's like, oh yeah, okay, good, I'm on the right track. But then also going, taking, and then life coach and this person and therapist, or whatever it is, the people that I'm seeking kind of guidance and support during a difficult decision, or and then realizing, oh, wait, it's just honing my voice and giving me the power to take what they say and then tuning into that barometer.
Oh, yeah.
And that's so empowering. I feel like I've grown so much because it really is coming back to my truth. And my truth is going to be different. And a lot of people are reflecting back portions of my truth, but then really having the chutzpah, if that's the right word. I don't know. He's looking at me with a very funny face.
No, it's
the balls, the courage to take the leap in the direction of your truth, in against what other people. I mean, this is my biggest thing right now, is like the fear of disappointing others. And when I read what you had to experience with making that decision to walk away from extreme success and disappoint all these facets of people, and then they still don't talk to you, like, give me that, just tell me again what to do. Like, how do I survive disappointing people that I care about and doing me?
It's so funny because I am in my nature. I guess that's the package I came into this world with, is somewhat of a people pleaser. I care so much about how the other people are feeling. I'm highly empathic, so I can feel when people are upset or unhappy with me, and it's like that's for me where my ego is kind of inflamed, and I want to. I'm a pacifist in that way. I want everyone to feel good and I want to take care, and leaving the band was maybe the first time in my life, but you got to do it over and over and over again, where you disappoint people. And in fact, 10 years later, to kind of close that circuit, I came back to make peace and try to get forgiveness from them for how it happened, not for the decision itself, because it was the right decision for me in my life, but I didn't mean to cause people pain, and it wasn't with ill intent. And it was not received. That's like a nice way of saying it, right? It was still met with the hostility, but it was so freeing getting to that side and saying, okay, so there are people who really, really don't like you. They might even hate you, and you're okay. You're okay. That's like my, as a kid certainly, and still today, that would be like a worst nightmare. If you're somebody who cares about other people's opinion. So the worst thing is if people don't like you and they want to cancel you, they want to get rid of your experience. Going through that was a level of an ego death, which was super freeing. It was powerful and liberating being on the other side of that. Again, so much of things that you can read, but you actually have to go through the process of choosing yourself and letting someone down and experiencing the liberation and the freedom of being able to be yourself, to say, now I understand.
Thank you for listening to the Heal Podcast. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for more empowering wisdom and inspiring healing stories. And make sure you hit the follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss that one episode that holds the answer you've been searching for. And please rate and review us so that we can grow and reach more people. Thanks so much, and be well.